All right, it is now 5 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're very excited for this dialogue today. As you can see on your screen, the topic of conversation is supporting the whole child, how to make sense. And the quotation marks kind of give me a clue that this will be an acronym. Sense means something, and I'm excited for Ms. Vasquez and Ms. Ferris to share with us of optimizing health and wellness. If you can go to the next slide, please. So I just wanted to start off always by saying thank you on behalf of the Alvord Unified School District Board of Education and Board of Trustees. Thank you, parents, for being here. Thank you for your partnership, your presence. I know it might not seem like much to spend an hour with us, but spending an hour with us, 30 minutes here, 40 minutes there for whatever presentation or dialogue that you might have with our school or our district really adds up over the 13 to 14 years of your child's schooling. And there's so much research that says that the more engaged and connected parents are with their child's school, the better your child does, both in their TK to 12 pathway or when they get to college and university. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't do this without you. Next slide, please. All right, just wanted to give our families a bit of notice that we do have a chat and we have a Q&A option. So if you have any questions or you have any comments, I already see that there was a question in the chat about Vietnamese translation. No, unfortunately, we don't have a Vietnamese translator in the district. So we have our interpretation is available. Actually, I don't have this. Oh, it'll be next slide. Yes. We do
Next
have,
slide.
yeah, no, not yet. We
Okay.
do have interpretation available. But if you would like to ask a question or put a comment in the chat, you can do that. You can also raise your hand and indicate to us that you'd like to make a comment. If you don't want to type it in, you want to actually speak it, and then you can unmute your device and let us know what you want to share with us. If you have to leave for any reason, please know that this session is currently being live streamed. It's going to be recorded and made available for you to access later on youtube.com/@alvordschools.org official. It's such a terrible name, but that's the one that we have. So you can just go on YouTube and look up Alvord and it'll pop up. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. And we do have interpretation available. We have Miss Yvonne who's here. So if you need the interpretation in Spanish, si necesita la información en español, en la parte inferior de su pantalla verá una esfera o un globo que dice interpretation y ahí puede cambiar el idioma de inglés a español. If you need this information in Arabic, we have Naima. Thank you, Naima, who's here interpreting for our Arabic speaking families. We don't have on Zoom the option for Arabic. I don't know why, but Zoom doesn't have that. So if you just find Russian, Russian and Arabic are nothing alike, but that's just what we had. So if you select Russian, you'll get the Arabic language translation. And with that, I want to thank Miss Joanna Vasquez, who is a third grade teacher, and Miss Erica Ferris, who is our numeracy specialist, for this dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cisneros, and thank you, families, for taking time out of your evening to come spend some time with us to talk about how we can be our best selves and, in essence, also help our students and children be their best selves as well. So you might ask yourselves, who are we and why are we here? Well, Mrs. Vasquez, I'm going to let you start.
Hi, families. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. We've been trying to present this information to families and teachers because we're all feeling it. We're all feeling like we need to focus more on health and wellness. So I am Joanna Vasquez. I am a teacher here at Alvord. I've been a teacher here for about 20 years. I teach third grade at Stokoe Elementary right now. I'm a wife, a mother of two beautiful children, Joaquin and Olivia. And Yeah, I commute from LA County, so I am a busy working mom. And the reason why I, really wanted to present this information to other parents is because I've been on my own health journey since, well, since forever, but when my children were born, I experienced postpartum depression, and since then, I'm entering my 40s now, but since then, I've just been trying to balance my hormones, and hormones really control, what we eat and what we don't want to eat, and how well we sleep and how much energy we have. And I just really wanted to do research on that to to really optimize my own health so I can show up for my family, my husband, my children and my students. So, two things that I've really learned on this journey was that I have to listen to my body and to really embrace the season that I'm in. And for a long time, I let weight control everything. Like, oh, if I'm, this many pounds, I'm not healthy or I'm whatever. And, there's so much we can do besides like losing weight to really optimize our health. So that is why I'm here. And I'm so excited to see other families like really joining because we need this. We need to focus and prioritize our health and our children's health. And I am lucky to present with one of my best friends, Miss Ferris, Erica Ferris.
And I think there's a reason why we are pretty good friends. And you can see we have some parallels in our life. So I am Erica Ferris. I am the numeracy teacher at Stokoe Elementary. This is my 27th year teaching. And I love Alvord so much. I do commute from Santa Ana. So I too have been a single mom. I do have 3 children of my own who are grown. They're adults, which I'm fortunate enough to be a Grammy as well to 2 beautiful grandchildren. Um, but I too have always been interested in health, but where it really became crucial for me is several years ago. I had kind of my own health crisis where it was even hard for me to get out of bed, and I was active, walking, playing with my children. We teach all day, and let me tell you, students are exhausting. We love it, but it is hard work. And just with the aches and pains, and I got to the point where even on weekends, I couldn't get out of bed. And I just had a long road of doctors passing me off to other doctors and telling me, oh, maybe you're depressed. Maybe it's just you're working too much. Oh, you're a single mom. And it took me a while, but I did find a very good doctor and I did end up having a diagnosis of lupus. So that is an autoimmune disease, and sometimes it can be debilitating. It can really affect your life. So I was told that I would be on immunosuppressants for the rest of my life, and no one had answers other than medication. And I thought there has to be more that I can do for myself. And Joanna and I have been partners and lifting each other up and learning and growing and sharing with each other. And we just wanted to share tonight some of the things that have been so important in our health journey and been transformational. And that has also impacted our own children. So I'm working on getting my strength back because I lost a lot of strength in my through my autoimmune condition. And sometimes when I don't make good choices and I'm having a rough day, rather than beating myself up and thinking of all the things that I didn't do, I'm working on giving myself grace and reminding myself that every day is a new day. So thank you again for letting us share what we've learned, and I hope you get something out of it. Before we begin, if you do have a place to take notes, we do encourage you to write some things down rather than just keeping them in our brains. When we put it out on paper, it helps us to process a little bit better.
Yes, and if you have a piece of paper, it's your first pop quiz. We're teachers after all. So you can drop it in the chat. How many pillars of health can you name? So if anyone has any, ideas of what do we need to be our healthiest? Yes. So our friendly acronym that we have for you is things we know, but it is helping us to put it all together and make sense of our health.
So why do we have sense in our health? Well, S is for sleep, and we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of sleep and healthy sleep routines. E is for exercise. I don't know about you, but I don't get enough of it. So we're going to talk about small ways to sneak it in and the benefits as well. N is for nutrition. And then the SE is for stress elimination. So all of these things, when we help ourselves, again, we're helping our children. So take it away, Mrs. Vasquez.
Okay, so we know that this is called supporting the whole child, but we also know that our children look up to us. Our students look up to us as well, but our children are always watching and listening. And we were talking about it at lunch today. And sometimes when we don't think they're listening, they're hearing us. They're hearing us. And we have to remember we are the first teachers of our students, our kids. And if we don't take care of ourselves, it's really hard to take care of others. And I know as a busy mom, if I'm stressed, the whole house is stressed because I'm like running around like a crazy woman and like trying to clean and cook and do all these things, and everyone is at like a heightened state. So we have to remember it starts with us. So we put this quote that we found: the child's first and most influential teacher is the parent. And putting our oxygen mask on first is really the key to supporting not only the child, but our whole family and all the people that we love. So before we get started, Miss Ferris has a little exercise for us. Don't worry, you can stay seating.
I'm not going to make you do jumping jacks yet. We'll do squats and that later. No, I'm just kidding. But before we get started, I know many of you probably did rush, or you're doing other things. And even if you're cooking dinner or you're doing another activity, driving, keep your eyes awake. But we're going to just take a second to just kind of slow down and be seated. Feel your seat or whatever's the floor beneath you. We're going to just take a few deep breaths together. And I want us to check in with our bodies, check in with ourselves. So if you want to close your eyes and you're able to, you can. But we're going to take a deep inhale in through our nose and out through your mouth. Take a deep inhale in through your nose and hold it. Pause for a moment. Exhale. One more deep inhale. And exhale out through your mouth. Sometimes I need to do that to just reset and check in with myself. And that's definitely one thing I've learned, is to make sure I'm in tune with myself, to see how I'm feeling, to make sure I know what I need to help me help others around us. So thank you for grounding and just being present with us tonight.
That was perfect because we taught all day. We've been here. I'm still at work, you see. So I needed that reset. It really does like calm our nervous system. So speaking of calming your nervous system, here's your next pop quiz. How many hours of sleep are we supposed to get? So I want you guys to think about like, how much sleep are you getting? And for me, I'm not getting nearly as much as I should, but I'm trying really hard to make sure my kids are. They don't have a busy life like me. I mean, they do. They have activities and stuff, but you can also.
Yeah, I see some people are putting 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours. I know we have some busy parents out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we have a little chart here, and I'm going to read through it because I know it could be kind of small. But, we know babies are supposed to get the most sleep, right? They're still growing. They have so many things that need to develop already. And 1 to 2 years old, they're still getting a lot of sleep, 11 to 14 hours. And then 3 to 5 year olds. So that's when they're becoming school age children. They should be getting 10 to 13 hours. That's what they need for their brains to develop properly. And then 6 to 12 year olds, this is where my children personally fall into. My daughter is 9, and then my son is 12. And, I try to make sure that they are getting 9 to 12. And I can tell when they're not, they're grumpy pants. And then, 13 through 18, they should still be getting at least that 8 hours that we always hear the doctor talking about. And then adults, we get slighted with the 7 or more hours. I really wish we can get more. And I was actually just I met someone who's a women's health practitioner, and she said one of the main things that women are lacking right now, sleep. We are not prioritizing sleep, and we would see a major difference if we did.
And it's true. Sleep is so beneficial. According to UC Davis, some of the health benefits of sleep, it promotes growth. So we know our children are growing. You guys are feeding them and you're buying new shoes and clothes. It helps heart health. It supports a healthy weight. It helps combat germs. It increases attention span, boosts memory and learning, and it helps keep your immune system strong. So many things that are required in our body to reset happen when we're sleeping, especially for our kiddos. It's so beneficial. And I know when I'm having a rough day, sometimes I need to check in with myself and I need to go to bed a little bit earlier to help my body be able to reset and heal.
Ms. Ferris or Ms. Vasquez, first somebody gave you shout outs, gave you props in the chat. Thank you for sharing the chart. We will definitely be making a change. I think I need a change as well. But I guess it looks like you're about to talk about the good sleep environment, but I know that with a lot of our students' work being online, and let's face it, a lot of our students, our kids, and us, we're a little bit addicted to our social media and our phone. About how long before bedtime do you know
Oh,
should we
we
disconnect?
we are
Oh,
getting there,
We
Dr.
got you.
Cisneros. We
We
are
got
we're
you.
like
We
this.
all
know
right.
we've been researching a long
All right,
time.
good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So
Appreciate it.
we thank you. He knew exactly where we are going. So good sleep environment. It is important for your room to be cool and quiet. They did research. It shows that typical the best room temperature is 65 degrees, which sounds really chilly. But when it's cold in your room, it helps your body to calm and lets you get deep sleep. Sometimes Mrs. Vasquez and I'm just going to say Joanna, we use a noise machine. And then I know, Joanna, you've used a weighted blanket for your children as well.
Yes.
It just helps their bodies calm and kind of just reset.
Yeah, my son, when he was younger, he did struggle, with falling asleep and like, oh, I heard a noise, and he'd always be so scared. So I did invest in like a weighted blanket to help him feel more secure. It's that like secure feeling that he needed, and it did help him a lot.
And I did see a question, what's like a noise machine? So I just have a free app, and it could be like the sound of water. There are different sounds called like pink noise or brown noise that are supposed to make it so your brain waves, it gives you deeper sleep. So sometimes when we hear like you were talking about, Joanna, like what's that noise or what's that happening? If we have a background noise, it helps our brain just have rest because we're not focusing on all the different sounds.
Yeah.
So there are free apps that you could get that just, I play, it's a Scottish river sound just in the background when I sleep at night.
Boring. No, I'm just kidding. That's the point, right?
Exactly.
He needs to lull us to sleep.
But Dr. Cisneros, you were talking about the blue light and our devices. Yes, this is so important. And even as adults. So research shows the minimum before you go to bed, you should not be on blue light. And that's from our cell phones, our tablets, our laptops, even TVs for an hour before we go to bed, because it throws off what's called our circadian rhythm. We're built to rise with the sun. We get the sunlight. It activates different chemicals in our body and makes us think and active and alert. And so if we have that light in the evening, that false light, it's not natural light, it's activating those senses and it's keeping us awake. And I'm so guilty of this. If I'm on my cell phone and I'm tired, I can just look at video clips and keep going. And I'm like, I'm so tired, but my brain keeps going. And it's actually those short clips and that constant watching is rewiring our brains for that instant gratification. So eliminating blue light 1 hour or more. And I do have readers because I'm getting older. I am a Grammy. So my little readers have blue light blocking because I do read some things at night. But if I do read it on my phone, I put those on and I try to be mindful. So my lights are turned down and I'm trying to reduce that because I want my body to start calming down and getting ready for rest. So
Yeah. And one of the things that I do, if you have a Samsung, I don't know about Apple, I'm sure you have something, but I have like a timer on my phone and it's like nighttime mode. So it takes all the color off my phone. So it looks less appealing and I don't want to scroll as much. But this is the one I struggle with most too. Like I'm like a small child and I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. And I'm like dropping the phone on my face because I'm so tired. Like we're addicted, you know, so I do notice a difference when I'm putting it away and prioritizing my sleep. So on that note, oops, hold on, I'm stuck in my, okay. So creating a bedtime routine that's calm and consistent. So not just for ourselves, but for our children. So this is kind of an example of my own kids' bedtime routine. And this is flexible, I'll say. Like, you know, during the week, I really try to get them to start winding down about 8 p.m. and they're charging their devices in a common area outside of their room. I noticed when when I first started letting them use their tablets, I would let them charge it in their room and sometimes they would like sneak it in the in the middle of the night and I can tell that they're not sleeping, and in the morning they're grumpy. I'm having a harder time getting them out of bed. So I make them charge it in the kitchen. And then at 8:10, I'm trying to build some habits. I'm habit stacking, and we'll talk more about that later. But we check the weather on our Alexa or on my phone, and they pick out their clothes. And this is super important for my daughter because she is not a morning person, and she will cry 4 out of the 5 times a week. So I have to have that plan so we're not making any kind of decisions in the morning. Everything is set out. So they're getting their backpack. I'm making sure is your homework in your backpack. I've taught them so many times that they can do this on their own. So at 8:20, they're taking turns showering. They're doing getting into pajamas, those like small things, we don't want to have them falling asleep in their clothes. We're just preparing our mind and our body. Like it's time to wind down. Just like when when they were babies, we had to create this whole routine to teach them like this is sleep time. And, because they don't know, naturally, they don't know. So 8:40, we're trying to turn down the lights, putting on their sleep machines. They both sleep with their sleep machines. I try to, I'm so busy, like right when I get home, I'm making dinner, I'm cleaning up dinner, I'm, trying to set out their clothes. And sometimes I don't take a minute to like, how's your day? And I know Erica, with your family, you did Peach and Pit. What's the, go ahead. Oh, unmute, unmute.
right. What is the sweet part of the day and what was maybe that part that was kind of stinky and that it's just rather than saying, how was your day? What did you do? It's just kind of a way to bond and connect and reflect on some of the good things that happened.
Yeah. And I do make sure that I talk to them about my day. You know, sometimes, especially when I'm in a whirlwind, I can tell them like I had a really stressful day, you know, and that just helps with our connection too. So 9 o'clock, I try to have lights out. You know, we're all ready to put them to bed. But this is flexible, you know, we're not always on this schedule. Sometimes they have their activities, you know, at night. So it pushes forward, but I try to keep most of these components because I know it's going to set them up for the next day.
And you know, that reminds me of the patterns. When we are going through these routines, these are cues to our body and our brain that what's going to come next. So it helps us to unwind when we have those patterns built in, and it helps us to have better quality of sleep and maybe less fussing or complaining because they know what's going to happen. It's not so bad when you get to cuddle or say goodnight to your parents.
Yes. And speaking of that, being fussy, we found this funny quote: my biggest parenting conundrum. Why is it so hard to put someone who is already sleepy to sleep, like me on my phone? I don't know. My brain keeps telling me like scroll, scroll, keep scrolling. There's more things to look at. So we put this in here for you to reflect, like what are some small things you can do to improve your sleep? Even tonight, you know, we're winding down. Like what can you do? Maybe just picking out your clothes for tomorrow, or, you know, making sure you put your phone away a little bit earlier. Okay, the next one, our favorite. And I'm like Erica, like we want to, I want to do it, but this is a hard one.
So there are many benefits of exercise. It lowers your risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes. It helps high blood pressure. It decreases your risk for dementia and Alzheimer's. It actually helps improve your sleep. So when you get that exercise and your body is going during the day, it helps your body to rest later. It helps maintain weight, a healthy weight, and it helps prevent chronic conditions um, such as bone health and helps you with balance. And there's oftentimes people suffer from less symptoms of depression and anxiety. So overall, people who exercise consistently report better quality of life and sense of overall well-being. So, but Joanna and I, we realize how busy and hard it is. So we wanted to talk about little ways we can fit in exercise and what that could look like with your children and your family.
Yes, and there are two types of exercise for children in particular that we see as a benefit to our students and our own children, but there's individual sports, so things like, I don't know, swimming or something that they're doing kind of by themselves, but it builds that confidence. And I can really tell in my class who plays sports or who is in some kind of activity because they do have more confidence in class. They can problem solve better. You know, they don't give up as easily because they already have that kind of coaching in their mind where like they can keep pushing themselves. And then there's the team sports, of course, like the basketball and the soccer. And again, I can tell in my students when they're on a team sport because they work really well when we're doing group activities in class. They're able to problem solve with each other. They're not trying to upstage each other. They know that in that sport, it takes a whole team and all the positions to play. So, you know, those are some great community building types of sports that really help in the classroom and in other areas of their life. So, and Erica, you want to talk about yeah, go ahead.
Definitely guidelines. It is suggested that kids get 60 minutes of exercise a day. That does include when they're playing out in the playground and just playing around with friends, but being outside in nature just helps them overall and helps their physical development. And according to the American Medical Association, that adults should get 150 minutes a week. So that would look like 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week. So if you're getting that, you know, going for a walk, and Mrs. and Joanna has some things on the next slide of just like little ways you can put it, because it doesn't have to be 30 minutes at once. It could be 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It does add up.
Yes, and we also presented to the teachers, and there are so many YouTube things that we can, or YouTube videos for adults in particular, where it's like 5-minute arm workout or 10-minute leg workout, and sometimes that's how I get a little bit of workout in the day. 10-minute walk around the neighborhood. I did one yesterday because I got home early enough, and I was like, I got to do this, because once I sit down, it's game over for me. So for the adults who, if you only have time to walk, a weighted vest, Erica and I know we both have one, and it helps like build your muscle. As we're getting older, we're losing muscle mass, and that weighted vest really helps. Amazon, not sponsored. And then, of course, like bringing your kids to the park, and a nearby park, and playing soccer. And, we saw, we made friends with new neighbors. We saw them playing outside, and I sent my kids out there, and now they're more encouraged to like, I want to go play outside. I'm going to play a little bit of this one of the videos, but these are high interest as well. Sometimes we do this as brain breaks in the classroom. And, sometimes I think like third graders are not going to like Pokemon anymore, but they go pretty crazy on this. They do like it. So let me see if
Hey guys, welcome to Pregnancy and Postpartum TV. Today we're going to be doing another family workout for while you are at home with your kids. And today we are going to be doing a special Pokemon workout. Grayson's a huge fan of Pokemon, so we're going to
look to see like what it looks like.
And we can go the other way.
And this is 12 minutes. This is something you can do while your dinner is, on the stove or something like that. And all I did was just Google, Pokemon family exercise, or, if your children like something else, there's Roblox, there's Minecraft, like we find all kinds that,
Well,
yeah.
One thing that my family, because all of my kids are older and they moved out, but we've made a point to do family dinner night once a week. And one of my favorite things that my granddaughter will look at me and say, Grammy, let's have a dance party. So just put on your favorite song and dance for 3 minutes. That does get your endorphins going. It gets your blood pumping. And actually, they did research that shows that it actually improves your brain health too, because you're listening, you're moving, and you're being creative. So no one's going to film you. So just have fun. I'm not the best dancer.
Hey guys, welcome.
Okay. Do you want to read this one, Erica?
Okay, parenting is mostly informing kids how many more minutes they have of something. How many more minutes do you have your device for? How many more minutes of homework before you go to bed? I feel like we are schedulers.
Yes. And it's actually teaching strategy too, because if I'm like, close your Chromebooks, we're going to something else, they're like, what? Wait. But if we count down 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes, 3 more minutes, it does actually help. Okay, nutrition, my favorite. I'm a big foodie, so.
Ms. Vasquez, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
before we move on, there was a couple questions in the chat that I'd like to. We addressed it in the chat. Thank you, Ms. Ferris. But I'd like to maybe just bring it up for discussion. Is their PE class enough exercise for the students? And Ms. Ferris wrote into the chat that students in TK through 5th grade do 50 minutes 2 times a week. And I also wrote in that in addition to that, they get their daily recess that all TK through 5th grade students enjoy. And then in middle and high school, if your child is in a PE class, which all middle schoolers are in, but high school it's different. So check with your child or their counselor. All of the PE physical exercise courses are between 48 and 58 minutes. So we do in Alvord recognize the value of this physical education, this movement, and so we do provide it to our students. But just check with especially your high schoolers, to make sure that they're getting PE on a daily basis, and if not, maybe they're ask them to join a club. I know that a lot of schools have 100-mile club that they can do, or how you can supplement it at home.
And I love, Dr. Cisneros, how we have been having sports in middle school. So I think that's such a great opportunity. We know when students are involved in that and they have to keep their grades a certain level, there's accountability. There's so many benefits to being in sports. So
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. And parents, if you don't know, all middle schoolers have the option of joining sports. They do intramural sports where they train at their campuses, but then they compete. Like students at Loma Vista will compete against Villegas or against Arizona or against Wells. And so it not only gives them that sense of teamwork and that physical exercise, but also healthy competition. Thank you, Ms. Ferris.
Thank you.
All right, so on to nutrition. So we have this handy dandy pyramid.
Yes. So nutrition, you hear all sorts of different things, but I do know for myself, nutrition has been one of the key parts in me healing my body. So some information and things to keep in mind that we do want to try to eat whole foods. So what it looks like from its, an apple from a tree versus apple juice. When we start to refine and process foods, we take important things away like fiber, and we put things that we don't necessarily need, like preservatives and sugar and salt. And so when we try to eat food from its original whole food state, that's going to be where we get the most health benefit. And research shows that up to 67%, the average American eats 67% ultra processed food. That means it is so refined and so processed that it looks nothing like its original form. And sometimes they call them frankenfoods because these foods aren't made by chefs in a kitchen. They're actually made by scientists and chemists who are finding a formula to make it crunch just right or be just salty enough and make you want to buy more. So when we eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables and we prioritize that protein and fiber and healthy fats, I like the Fab Four. That's what I try to keep in mind when I'm eating. I have healthy fats, so things like olive oil and fats from seeds and nuts. And then I have protein, fiber, and then greens, something that is greens, vegetables. When I eat that way, I'm usually full and satiated. My blood sugar stays balanced and I feel my best.
Wow. And even on my health journey, food was such a big thing. As we get older, milk doesn't do my body good. Like it is really hurting. And I saw that in my daughter as well. When she was in first and second grade, she had a lot of tummy aches and I had to really look at her snacks. And, a lot of our students love Takis at 10 a.m., recess, and then they're having tummy aches and they're also feeling hungry still because and I tell my own kids, that's not a meal, that's a snack. And, so it's really important that we make sure that our kids are part of our grocery routine. I sit with my kids and I try to ask them, like, what are you feeling this week? Let's go through your lunch menu. Like, what are the days that I need to make you a sandwich? And, most of the time I am making them the same, like, ham and cheese, peanut butter and jelly, but I will also want to make sure that I'm putting in fruits and vegetables that they like, as opposed to just, just throwing away whatever they're getting at school. So I always try to make them a part of my planning because nothing feels worse than at the end of a long day, I make something, and then they're like, I want chicken nuggets. And I'm like, okay, and then I feel bad. So why not sit with them on a Sunday and then just be like, what are we gonna do? We'll have one night of chicken nuggets, but the rest of the time, maybe we'll have, you know, chicken nuggets and a plate full of fruits and vegetables on the side, and then some French fries. Like, we want to make sure we're, and this is something I learned, you know, on my several diets that I did. Like, we don't want to take things away. We want to add. Like, what can we add next week or even tomorrow to their plate to help them, you know, develop that love of those like less processed foods, you know, those real foods.
Dr. Cisneros, you wrote, my daughter once told me I can't stand that taste when I made her healthy veggies. It does hurt your feelings. I know. Well, one thing I did too, because being a single mom, and I agree with you, Joanna, like you come home, you're tired and you do cook and then you hear complaining. So I kind of did what you did, but on a bigger, like a big scale as far as like, I made a list of healthy proteins, what vegetables. So we sat down, we might have even been eating after they complained, and I might have just been at my wit's end. And I'm like, okay, you guys tell me the vegetables you will eat. Now let's look at the fruits we'll eat. And we just kind of had a family list. And as a mom, it's not that I'm cooking for my children. I just tried to have a balanced plate that people can appreciate, that my kids would appreciate and try to eat. And they knew I'm doing it for them and I wanted their input. But trying those new recipes and getting them involved too. When my granddaughters come over, they help me cook sometimes. And my daughter-in-law always tells me they never eat what I cook. So I do think it helps when we get them to help us prepare the food and be part of the process.
Yes.
So,
okay, so hydration. Sometimes when we think of nutrition, we don't really consider hydration, but we need it.
It's crucial. Some of the things that water does in our body, well, our body is made up of so much water. It does deliver oxygen throughout the body because our blood is made up a lot, primarily of water. Our airways and our lungs depend on being hydrated, depend on that water. So we're not going to get the oxygen through if they're not hydrated. And it also helps with cognitive function. So one of the signs that you're dehydrated is it's hard for you to think and you might feel lethargic. So how much water do you guys think we need?
Button's not working anymore. Okay, so how much water should we be drinking? So you can drop that in the chat if you can. And I think, you know, the message has been the same. Like, we need, you know, let's see, did anyone put 8?
1 gallon. I think that's a good goal for a lot of adults.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. There we go. All right. So here is the recommended amount for, you know, different age groups. And of course, it depends too on your activity level and even the weather outside. You know, when it was like 125 degrees in Riverside, we definitely, you know, needed to stay more hydrated. But this is about the amount that each of us need. And for me, I start my day with coffee. And then I realize by lunch, like, I haven't had any water, and coffee, it actually dehydrates me, and I definitely feel it by the end of the day. So, you know, I try to wake up and I gulp as much water as I can. That was a hack that I saw on like an Instagram video, like instead of sipping, like never sip water, just like take as many gulps as you can, and then you'll get your daily intake, you know, easier that way. All right, make it fun. Food is supposed to be fun.
So some of the benefits of cooking together, you know, I'm the math specialist. So cooking is so helpful with math. So if you do get your kids involved in the shopping part and taking them with you to the grocery store, and you've already talked about what you're going to make, so they're not begging you for Takis, well, maybe just one bag.
Yeah.
But when you bring them shopping, they're teaching them about, you know, what's a good buy and comparing different items and how much money you're spending. So you have that. When you're actually cooking together, you're following a recipe, you are talking about fractions. Is that a half a cup? Well, I already used the half a cup and now I have the quarter cup. So how many quarter cups would equal? You're using all sorts of math. Or let's double the recipe because we have our abuelita and we have our extended family coming over. Don't forget the abuelitas, please. So when you are doing cooking together, it does really help them in so many ways with their life skills, with math skills, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yes.
What else does it do, Mrs. Vasquez?
Yeah, so for me, it's really like I love the community and cultural aspect of food. I'm Filipino, so food is such a big part of our culture. And my husband is Mexican. So we come from good food cultures, and I want my kids to have that love of community. My husband, his grandma passed away. Mama said passed away about 2 years ago now, or was it last year? And she was well known for her sopes. So my husband learned how to make sopes, and now we are inviting people over all the time to have Mama Stead's sopes and tacos, and we're learning. We're keeping that keeping her alive that way too, and teaching our own kids about our culture. And that's really important to me. My word of the year, if you don't have a word of the year, try to get one. Mine is invite, because I really want to invite more community and connection in my life. And what better way than food? I mean, want to meet for some coffee? It's the best way. It's the best way to build relationships.
Dr. Cisneros, he said he's going to be right over, and you heard her, Dr. Cisneros. Her word is invite, so that does sound like an open invitation.
Yes, I'm still struggling with making the tortillas. They always stick to the pan. My husband has taught me many times. I don't know how to, maybe we need a new pan or something.
I love that you guys make it fun. So,
okay, go ahead.
90% of parenting is thinking about when you can lie down again. Sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah, like right now, after a long day.
I did see some comments, Dr. Cisneros, and I love the idea. Would it be possible to have parent workshops in schools? This is great information. A lot of families will appreciate it. It teaches parents more in detail what's the difference, importance of feeding our children better. I love that idea. Maybe we can have parents come along and help us do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that we need it. That's how we encourage each other, parent to parent. Yeah.
Actually, and one thing I'm just thinking about, Joanna, is so we are friends, but there was a group of us teachers, and we were so tired, and so we were just saying like we had nothing to give when we went home, and we had the same recipes we're cooking every week, and the four of us friends, we just kind of swapped ideas. We just said, what is one of your go-tos? What is one of your meals you make every week? And so I think as parents and friends, just swapping those ideas and bringing each other up and sharing easy ways to help each other and our families. I love that idea of swapping recipes.
That community again too. Okay, so stress elimination. For both Erica and I in our health journey, we didn't realize how much stress impacted our day too. If you saw a picture from me last year, my body was so inflamed because of the stress that I was under. My mom was going through some health things and I was taking care of her. It was just, it's a lot on our bodies. And sometimes we're so go that we don't stop to really check our engines. That's something that I learned from a therapist actually. And she's like, we can't wait till our gas tank is empty. We have to be checking throughout. So one of the things that I really had to do is let go of the things that I can't control. What are the things I can? What are the things I can't? I noticed my body, when you're stressed, you're either fight, flight, or freeze. And last year I was freeze. I would be scrolling for hours and I'm like, I'm so unmotivated. I don't want to do anything. And then I realized it's because my body and my brain is shutting down. It could be from trauma, it could be from stress in the day, it could be from different things that our brain is telling us you need a break. So really finding what helps you so you can prevent anxiety in the future, or to help you through and be there for your kids and be there for the people that you love. So one of the important things for me is, again, that community and connection. And Erica is truly one of my best friends, and I have a great group of girlfriends that are all moms who really help me through these stages in life. So talking it out, I'm a big talker, if you haven't noticed. And then I don't try to do it on my own. There are times that I still do, and then I blow up, and then I'm telling my husband, like, why aren't you helping me? And he's like, I tried, but you said to not help you. And I'm like, okay. So we check those engines again. Where can I get that help? And if go ahead, Erica.
I was just going to say, we are so fortunate that we have school counselors at all of our elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. If you do have concerns about your child, or if you do want some extra support, a lot of times our counselors can touch base if it's just for a small instance, but we also have resources to get outside counseling. We just want you to know you're never alone, and we are so fortunate that we do have access to resources here in Alvord. So make sure that you connect with your school counselor and reach out to get help if you do need it.
Yes, and I want to remind you of like one of our first slides where our children are watching how we deal with stress. And I have to say, when I was growing up, I didn't really notice my mom dealing with stress. So I didn't know how to deal with stress when I became an adult. So sometimes that's why, at the end of the night, I tell them I had a stressful day, but this is what I did. I'm doing this for myself right now because it's going to stick with them. And when they have that stressful moment, hopefully they'll have some strategies.
And Joanna, there is a question that says, what is something that can help our child with anxiety? And I think that is, so prevalent in this day and age. And we see children who have more anxiety than we've ever seen before. And I do think just putting in some of these practices, if we go back to sleep, sometimes when with my kids, if we're kind of grouchy with each other, we do a check-in. Do you have enough sleep? Have you eaten? Is something like immediately stressful happening? So when we start to dial in our sleep, when we set up those sleep routines, are we eating? Do we have enough? Is our blood sugar balanced? All of these things kind of go together and hopefully help reduce that anxiety, along with us being present and checking in with our kids. That's such a great question. And I'd love for people to share. If you want to add anything to that, Joanna or Dr. Cisneros, or anyone else in the chat.
Yeah, I'd like to add, thank you for those suggestions, Ms. Ferris. And families, if you implement these and you still find that your child is struggling and you need additional support, just remember to lean on your school. Every single school in Alvord Unified School District has at least one counselor. So in elementary, there's at least one counselor at every single elementary school. Middle schools, some of them have 3 or 4, same thing with high schools. In addition to the counselors, we have, I believe, 12 social workers and social worker interns throughout the district that can help and really emphasize mental health for our students. And then if your child or you are dealing with something that our school personnel, our counselors and social workers are not equipped to effectively handle, we have partnerships with different community organizations that then you can get referred through our personnel. So I would say reach out to your child's school counselor. If you're not sure who that is, start with the principal and say, hey, this is what my child is dealing with. And then again, first line of defense or support will be the school. But if there's something that's just outside of our locus of control, then we'll refer you out to different mental health services. A lot of the mental health services are either free or low cost, depending on your situation. But reach out to your school counselor or principal for that additional support.
Yeah, and it is, great that we have so many resources out there. Sometimes my daughter, she doesn't want to go to school because she's like, oh, my tummy hurts and I'm nervous. I'm nervous about a test and talking it out. I did buy a book. I wish I had it on hand, but sometimes we can find resources in our library about like how to deal with anxiety for our, and our children. And for me, it is making sure that I'm regulated, that I can regulate myself, and I can teach her to regulate for herself too, because I'm not always with her, especially when they're at school. Okay, so some ways to regulate ourselves. This is perfect. So, Erica, do you want to talk about this? Because I know you.
I know. I do personally use Calm. We are fortunate as teachers, we get access to Calm, but I also know if you do have Kaiser, there's an app called Calm that helps with breathing. There's another one called Balance, and some of these other ones are good resources that have free versions, or it's just a way to check in with that breathing, reset your body, and find that calm, for lack of a better word, to just reduce that anxiety and some of those physical symptoms that you might be experiencing that cause us trouble. So we also found some free yoga videos. I know my granddaughter's like Cosmic Kids Yoga, but there are some other, we have to see what happens.
We have the Dat Yoga dude, and he's actually local. So he's been to our school, and I know for our Greatness Within club, he has visited them. He did a session for teachers, and it was great. So I highly recommend. And then right now, after the stress of the holidays, I'm actually, noticing that I need to check in with myself, and Yoga with Adriene on YouTube is my favorite. She makes it accessible and easy. Like, I'm not one to work out. I was never like an athletic person. And sometimes I can't even touch my toes, but she makes it easy and accessible. So highly recommend. Okay, and another time for reflection, checking your engine, right? This is a good time. Sometimes we don't make time. And right now, if you're here, if you're watching this video or you're here on the live stream, you're making time because you know it's important. So kudos to you. So this one says, being a parent is like folding a fitted sheet. No one really knows how. So I just roll it up and stuff it in the cabinet.
Yep. We keep going and doing the best we can.
Yes. Okay, so how many pillars of health can you name now? Sorry, we're delirious. We've been here for almost 12 hours. I'm just kidding. Okay, so hopefully it makes sense to you now. So we have sleep, exercise, nutrition, and stress elimination. And anytime you're feeling like not your best, check in. Go through the pillars. Like for me, I can always identify like, yeah, I've been living on Starbucks for a couple of days. I should probably check in with myself.
And it's true. We find this near and dear to our hearts. I know some people have to leave in a minute, but if you do have a couple minutes to finish out the session with us, we would like you to pick one, because we do feel like this journey in health isn't just like we've arrived. We're constantly reevaluating. We're constantly having ups and downs because that's how life is. So we don't have all the answers, and we just know that when we do have those bumps in the road, there are ways we can correct it, and there are ways that help us to get back on track. And we've learned to kind of look at these pillars to help us. So, Joanna, what's our challenge today?
So I didn't get to mention, but there's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it really talks about how to create better habits in your life. And one of them is like habit stacking. So building a habit on another habit. So, you're going to plug in your screens anyway, so plug them in a certain place. And making just those goals very specific. So instead of like, I'm going to start walking every day, like be realistic. We're going to walk on every Sunday after church or something. So, and don't do it alone. I can't do anything without, my family and my friends. Like I really try to be vulnerable, just like we are right now. Like it's not easy. This is one of the hardest things to be a parent. So kudos again for you, for being here, because it shows that you want to make some change. So I love this quote that Erica found. There is no such thing as a perfect parent, so just be a real one. I love that. So we do have some resources. Erica, do you want to
Yes, so I know it's kind of hard to see, but our district is offering some more resources coming up on January 29th. It's how to have a growth mindset, and that has been really important to me in my life. That's on January 29th at our Lanza, 8:45 in the morning. There's one on stress management, February 5th. That's also at our Lanza at 8:45. And then there is one on grief and loss, February 12th at Wells Middle School at 8:45. We do have some contact information, and maybe you can speak a little bit to that, Dr. Cisneros. We get these, we send the information out on Parent Square.
Yes, all of these invitations have already been sent out on Parent Square. And then just to make a quick clarification, just because they're being held at Orlanza or at Wells, it doesn't mean you have to have a student at that school. All community members are invited.
Thanks for clarifying. I know our Lanza even has a room that's not attached to the school site, so you're able to go in and not have to check into the school.
Yep.
Yes. And then oh, go ahead.
Do you know if these are going to be recorded for them to?
No, these are not going to
person.
be, right. These are just in person, right?
Yeah. Okay, and then there's one more.
Yes, there is a dental clinic coming up. Spaces are limited, but on March 14th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., there's access to a children's free dental clinic. So it's hosted by Project Kind and Dr. Harris, DDS. So we just really want to thank you for making space and time and making your health a priority and your children a priority. So anything else you want to add, Dr. Cisneros?
No, I just want to give a note of thanks to you, Mrs. Ferris, and to you, Ms. Vasquez. Such great information that is really crucial for us to know, not only to support our kids, but also to support ourselves. I felt like I learned a lot for my own personal benefit. So thank you. Thank you to all our families who are here. But I also want to just give a big shout out and a big thank you to the hardest working people in the room, our two interpreters, Miss Yvonne. Thank you, Yvonne, for translating into Spanish, and Miss Naima. Thank you, Naima, for translating into Arabic. And with that, we're 3 minutes past schedule. So thank you. Everybody, have a good night.